What is up, everybody? Another episode of Catch Up with Cody. I have a reoccurring guest on today, Cade. He's been on, I believe, three total episodes now, so he'll definitely be on more in the future as well. But yeah, so I guess for the viewers that don't know you, Cade, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Cade. I've known Cody for I think a little over a year now. Met him on TikTok and I didn't know much about him and then I realized he lived two streets down from me in Auburn Hills. So yeah, my name's Cade. I'm 26 years old. A little fun fact about me, I graduated from Michigan State, but I'm actually attending University of Michigan right now, so I got both schools in me, I guess. But yeah, that's me. I make some TikToks and Instagram for a living too, just like Cody here. So, yeah,
There we go. Yeah, and this episode we're really going to talk about the college football playoffs. I know we're at the national championship here coming up on Monday, but let's kind of I guess work backwards here on what your opinion is on them moving to 12 teams. Um, some of the teams that made the playoffs maybe shouldn't have. I know there's a couple teams that I can just point out super quick. I'm sure you have the same team names as me. Um, and yeah, just kind of go over how college football is really changing with NIL and the transfer portal. I just saw the other day that like 4,000 kids were in the transfer portal, which is crazy because they said like 53% of those kids aren't going to be playing anywhere. So it's like, do you just stay where you're at or do you take that chance, you know, like a Mendoza or a Carson Beck, and hope that you find that position and that landing spot to, boost your career up?
yeah. That's crazy, man. And first on the college football playoff, I do think they made the right move in terms of in terms of expanding. I know a lot of people love the old BCS style where you had that one BCS game and you had the other bowl games, and they're like, oh, the other bowl games actually meant something in the past, and now they don't. You know, Back in the day, if you started the preseason rankings off 1 and 2 and you never lost, you were going to go to the national title game. And there could have been a third or fourth team that were just as good and they went undefeated, but they never got a chance because of the preseason rankings. So this is a little bit more fair in my eyes. I'd like to actually see them expand to 16 and then stop there, so you could appease teams like Notre Dame. um,
Yeah, yeah,
but
that is true. It's my only worry about expanding it anymore is, you know, and no offense to like JMU and Tulane, but like,
yeah,
I mean, yeah, these guys have a good record and they go in there and they have a powerhouse team,
yeah.
but they're not at the same level as your Oregon, your Michigans. So I feel like for them, it's tough. Like, okay, you made the college football playoff, but you lost by like 52. So it's like, is that really a win in your book?
Yeah, that is very true. Especially, Tulane, I was very disappointed in. I think JMU too, like they were not like gonna win that game. They made it a little bit closer. I think they hung like 30 some points on Oregon, but still, I mean, I understand that take too because it's a waste of watching college football. You turn the TV on and some teams getting spanked in the college football playoff, and that's probably not good for the ratings and whatnot. And
No, definitely
so,
not.
maybe they got to have a little bit of a bigger filter, and maybe they just got to tell these, mid-major teams like, hey, I'm sorry, we got to let teams, other teams in, and maybe they need to start grading teams more on the eye test rather than, the record. I know that's kind of unfair sometimes, but sometimes there's a certain team that maybe doesn't have as good of a record, but you look at them and you're like, yeah, this team is 100% better than a Tulane or a JMU, and we got to do that. And obviously you have the Notre Dame situation. I do think Notre Dame was fairly left out of the playoff just because they did lose to Miami and Texas A&M head to head. And that I remember when they lost both of those games early in the season, and I'm like, okay, this is going to come down to those two games because they're 0-2 and they have to go 10-0 to even have a chance, and they
Yeah.
did. And they looked really impressive. Was Notre Dame one of the best teams in the college football playoff? 100. I mean, not in the college football playoff, but in the country, 100%. but they lost those games against Miami and Texas A&M, and obviously look at Miami right now. They're in the national title game. They have a really impressive defense, championship caliber defense. They definitely deserve to get in. Texas A&M had like one loss to Texas at the very end, so they deserve to get in, obviously too. So that Notre Dame, man, you gotta join a conference if you don't want something like that to happen next time. And
Yeah, and it was kind of funny with Notre Dame, like how they were ranked the whole year, even at 0-2. I'm like, if you have any other team up there that's 0-2, they're not in the top 25. So
yeah,
that kind of like annoyed me a little bit. But the other thing I thought of is like just take the top 12 teams
yeah,
in the
yeah,
ranking because it's like okay, you get these teams that are 11 and 12, and they don't make it because it's based on conference. So JMU and Tulane make it in, and JMU I think was ranked 24 in the
yeah.
league or in the college football ranking. So it's like, okay, well, are
That's a
you
very
really
good
taking
point.
the top 12, or are you just like, to me, a 24 ranked team shouldn't be making the college football playoff?
Yeah, you should. I feel like the way they kind of shuffle around the seeds when they seed everyone in the playoff is a little bit sus.
Yeah,
I do agree with you. They should just take the top 12 teams and don't even shuffle them around. Just leave them in place and form the bracket that way. Like look at Texas Tech. I think they were. I don't think they were in the top four at the end of the season. I think they were like fifth or sixth, but they got one of the top four seeds because they won the Big 12.
yeah, and
They
it's
just get
that to me is just crazy. I mean, I
yeah
know a lot of people were upset that Miami made it, but look where
yeah
Miami's at now. They're at the national championship, so it's like that's where it's like, okay, well, you guys are going to complain because Miami shouldn't be in, and now they're in the national championship where you know you maybe Notre Dame gets in, but I don't think Notre Dame would have got past Ohio State.
yeah. I agree with you. Yeah
Not that I thought Miami was going to get past Ohio State, but
yeah. Miami yeah, they're very surprising to me that they beat Ohio State and they got all the way to the national title game. But they do have something that really a lot of championship teams have, and that is just the elite defense. They have the edges, they have the line. That was something that was a talking point going into the playoff. And then I'm like, okay, well, if that's the case, this team could. I mean, they could stay around for a little bit. They got past Texas A&M, which I picked Texas A&M in that game, so I was already surprised. Then they beat Ohio State, and I'm like, okay, well, they beat Ohio State by like 10. So it was
yeah,
like at the end of the game, it was not even, there wasn't even a chance for Ohio State to, toss a Hail Mary or whatever. They were already out of it, and so this team, and plus they have Carson Beck too, and Carson Beck, he isn't the best quarterback, but he has a load of experience, man. He's seen it all.
yeah, because he's been in the last three, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I
yeah,
know he was backup, but
yeah,
still has that
he's
experience.
he's seen it all, and I love a good redemption story. Someone who was kind of counted out. At Georgia, they kind of politely told him to, get, you need to enter the transfer portal because we're going to go
Yep.
with Gunnar Stockton here. So he left, went to Miami. A lot of people wrote him off. And look at he's in the national title game now, and I know that Indiana is a freight train right now, but Miami with that defense, man, and they beat Ohio State more than Indiana did. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if by midnight tomorrow night, we're looking at the Hurricanes as the national title winners. We never know. At this point in the game, it's in Miami, and obviously Indiana is just they look unstoppable right now, but I think it'll be a good game. It's a
Oh
really
yeah,
interesting game. It's a game that where you don't see the normal teams. Usually you see like Ohio State and Notre Dame. I think was
yeah.
it
Alabama,
last year.
Georgia, all them. Yeah,
Yeah. So it's exciting. It's exciting.
yeah. No, I'm definitely excited to watch it. I mean, and I believe if I'm not mistaken, all four of the teams that made it before the national championship all have transfer quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, that's where I see where the transfer portal helps, but I mean, I don't know. It's funny because I was talking to a couple people like for Mendoza in Indiana. Like he played at Cal. Nobody ever heard of this guy. He comes to Indiana, and now he's a Heisman winner, potential national championship winner, and I mean even potential first round draft pick. So it's like good for him. I mean, you picked the right system, and I mean, Signetti's probably one of the greatest coaches of all time. I mean, he's probably on that same list as Nick Saban.
Yeah,
So,
I totally
great place
agree.
for time.
I totally agree with you. I think Fernando Mendoza, if you look at what makes him like, a good quarterback, is he's an extremely high IQ. Listen to his conversations. You can definitely tell that this guy, studies the game, he analyzes things like his IQ on the field is through the roof and in real life. I mean, I think originally he was just gonna go to Yale to be a student. So he was gonna go to an Ivy League school to just be a student, which is like, this guy is, nuts. Then he went to Cal. I think he wanted to go to Miami at first, but Miami said no. So he went all the way to Cal. Did well at Cal. Obviously, Cal is not a program you're gonna win at. So he entered the transfer portal, and Miami, and both Miami and Indiana wanted him, but he ended up going to Indiana. I think maybe there was a little bit of a chip on his shoulder with Miami the first time around.
That's true. Yeah.
Um, Now he's at Indiana, and he's brutally efficient. He's not flashy. He's not going to be this guy who is going to surprise you and you know this freak athleticism. He's just efficient. He gets the ball to his playmakers, wide receivers. He flourishes in Signetti's system at Indiana, and that's the ultimate recipe for success in college football, especially if you want to get all the way to the title game like they are right now.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it was even funny, like, they kept playing Signetti's when he first got hired, and he's like, "I win. Google me." Like, he's backed it up. I mean, he hasn't lost, so
Yeah,
he's doing what he told the program he's going to do. And I mean, even Mendoza. I mean, I don't think he's missed maybe 4 or 5 incompletions in the last like 2 or 3 games. I mean, the guy is spot on with every throw. And even his like post game interviews and everything, he's not cocky. He always thanks his O line, his receivers, everybody. It's a team sport, and that's exactly what you need as a quarterback in college, and even at that next step as an NFL quarterback is he already knows what he's doing. I mean, I know the game's a lot different in the NFL compared to college, but I think he's going to fit right in with whatever team he goes to.
yeah, oh yeah. I mean, I totally agree. This guy, he reminds me a lot of Tom Brady, actually. Just someone who, doesn't have the natural athleticism, but his IQ and love for the game is just, it's crazy good. And Tom Brady, he just got things done. He wasn't some like, Johnny Manziel or Kyler Murray or, guy who had, shifty feet or, like some freak athlete that was just gonna tear you apart. He's just this guy who wins. He's a winner. So I'm excited to see where he ends up. I heard the Raiders are the team to watch here.
Yeah, that's unfortunately where your career goes to die, but that's all right.
Yeah,
That's like my thing. Like always, like even when I was a kid thinking about it, it's like, do you want to be like? I mean, obviously you want to be a great athlete. Don't get me wrong. You want to make it to
yeah,
that next step, but it's like you're at Indiana, you're winning these games, you're pretty much on top of the world, and now you're going to go to the Raiders and just not fall off because he's a good quarterback, so he'll be fine. But it's like you have no wide receivers. You have a good running back, so that'll help him with
yeah,
Gentry. But it's like that's always a tough thing. It's like I don't know if I want to be the first overall pick. Like put me at mid first round pick, early second round pick. I'm going to a decent team. I can still help, but I mean the money's good. I mean you can't complain about that. The money's going to be good at first overall pick, but that's the one thing that's tough. Is like, dang, you're on top of the world, and now you got to work your way back up again.
yeah. Who's the coach of the Raiders right now? Did they just
Nobody right now because it was
they
Pete
fired?
Carroll.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So
that's
now
not,
you're going into a organization that has no head coach.
yeah, yeah. Isn't Tom Brady like a part-time owner now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So hopefully that helps things the next within the next 5 years. But yeah, I mean it's you don't want to be put into a situation where you're going to be set up to fail, where you might go to a franchise where you might you're a legit quarterback, but you might not do well there because of your resources, and then everyone tells you you suck now, and you're not in the you're not going to be a good quarterback in the league. Where in fact you are good, but now no one trusts you because
Yep.
you just put in a bad situation. I think someone whose career kind of like fell off a cliff was Zach Wilson, and I don't think Zach Wilson was like a crazy good quarterback, but he was efficient at BYU, and then he went to the Jets, and you look at his career now. I mean, it's the Jets destroyed him.
Yeah. But I mean, on the flip side of that too, I mean, look at Sam Darnold. He started
Yeah,
out with the Jets,
Sam
and
Darnold, man. I'm happy for that guy, man. I'm happy for
yeah,
that guy.
no, he out of everybody that's in the playoffs right now, I really obviously I wanted to see Bo Nix win. Unfortunately, he went down, but
Yeah,
I mean, Sam Darnold would be a great comeback story of just you get written off and now you're at the top. So
they have a
we'll
legit
see.
chance. They have a legit chance. They have, I honestly might pull for the Seahawks for the rest of the way because, I mean, they have Kenneth Walker. Obviously, I'm a big Kenneth Walker guy. He had a big game. And Sam Darnold, man, he's been efficient too. I mean, he reminds me of Mendoza too. Someone who's not flashy, but just gets it done. But yeah, I mean, they blew out the Niners yesterday.
Oh yeah, it was
So
like 44-6. I was like, I
yeah,
tried staying up to watch it. I'm like, there's no point. We already know who's winning.
yeah. So a couple of games on today too, so that'll be fun. But
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely excited for that. But I mean that kind of really piggybacks off on like the transfer portal stuff. Like, are you a fan of the transfer portal? Like I said, I'm like 50-50. The things like, Mendoza and Beck and stuff, that's where I'm like, all right, this is cool. And I know not everybody's gonna hit in the transfer portal. But also I don't like okay, so you're not playing that well. Let's go to four different teams in 4 different years. Like it to me, it would be hard to be a coach because you're really it's almost like college basketball to me. Like it's hard to be a coach because you are always trying to rebuild your teams because you're getting one and dones.
yeah. There's a couple of different scopes I would look at this through. I think as a fan and someone who's a competitor and someone who I want to cheer for my team and look, I want to look at college football holistically. Obviously, I'm not a big fan of the transfer portal. I mean, I think every player should be allowed one free transfer, and then after that, you got to sit out a year if you transfer more. I think that might be the solution you might have to go with because definitely is getting too out of control. It's not college football anymore. It's just it's like the NFL G League,
Yep.
and it's like like Carson Beck. They just did a press conference with him, and he's like, "Yeah, I haven't taken a class in 2 years." Like, I mean,
Yeah,
this
that's
is
another thing. Like you got to cap it off at some point. Like I'm sorry,
yeah,
but like, even
this is
the old Miss quarterback wanting a sixth year. I'm like, I'm sorry. At some point, like you're gonna be like 22, 23 years old. You're playing against 18-year-olds. Like at that point, it's gonna tarnish your career because like, yeah, I could. I mean, not that I'm a good athlete, but I could probably go out there and be a
yeah.
little bit better in some aspects than an 18-year-old that's just coming out. So it's like at some point, like we need to stop this 6, 7 years of like eligibility. Like just either go to the NFL, go to the UFL, play overseas. Like there's plenty of other options instead of just sitting in college forever.
Yeah, and it's just to add on to that too. Like I'm someone who's like empathetic, so I like to look at things through a different lens, and I put myself in the shoes of someone who is transferring. So let's say I'm Trinidad or whoever. You know, an extra year in college or transferring to a new program might give you an opportunity to where it changes your life forever. So let's say I'm at U of M, I'm at Michigan, and I'm the third string quarterback, and I know I'm good, but I'm just behind like Bryce Underwood or something, and I can't, you know, even though you're gonna get a lot of hate for transferring might literally change your life financially forever. So it might be the difference between you, ending your career in college football and having to go, you know, sell insurance or something. You know what I mean? Or you might find a place that might, give you, I don't know, $500,000 to be the quarterback of a team that is not very good, but you're going to be the starter, and you're going to be able to showcase your skills, and maybe that sneaks you into the NFL later on, and you get a little bit of guaranteed money, and then all of a sudden your life has changed. So for me, it's like, okay, well, if this is something that is going to change my life in the future, I know that the optics don't look good, but I just got to do it. It's like one of those things where it's like, don't hate the player, hate the game. It's the NCAA. It's their fault right now. They've let this get way too out of hand, and we all don't like it as fans. But it's like, what? If this is gonna keep you from being poor in the future, some of these kids are from really like just some bad
Yeah, that is
neighborhoods.
true. Yeah, I guess I really didn't think about it in that aspect. Yeah, you think about it like I know a lot of these kids don't even want to go to the draft like this year or next year, just because they can get more money in college than they can in the NFL, which again is crazy. And like you said, it's not the player's fault; it's the NCAA. It just happens
Hmm.
that's they play for that company, but it's yeah, there's a lot that needs to be looked at over the off season. I kind of agree with what you were saying. Like you get one free transfer. Um, yeah, it could change your life, like you said. But it's like, okay, at some point, like, how many chances do you want before like you're tarnishing your career
Yeah, I,
at a
I
football?
think I think we got to find middle ground here. I think the one free transfer thing is perfect because it's better than what we had in the past, where in the olden days, where if you transferred, you were automatically sitting out a year. So um, that kind of gives us middle ground, and I think two schools is enough for your career. You don't need to push
Yeah,
it.
no, I agree. I mean,
Um,
it's because what I feel is going to happen, and what I feel like does kind of happen is even you kind of see this in high school is like some of these. I know it's more like basketball. Like these kids are going to five or six different high schools in a 4 year span, and they're able to play, which is good. Try to get to the next step, but it's like these are high school kids. Like at some point, we need to like either just worry about it in college or like yeah, there's a lot that's got to get changed because I mean these high school kids shouldn't have to bounce around to all different high schools either to get that playing time. And it's always about the system and everything like that. And I mean, and it goes back to Mendoza and back like yeah, they made it into the right system, but like I said before, there was 4,000 kids that transfer, and I think they said only 50% or even less than 50% actually make a team. So it's like you gamble on yourself, but I don't know. There's a lot that needs to get changed with it, and it sucks that it's turning into an NFL G League because I don't really think that that's what college football should be. Um, and I mean that even kind of like for college basketball, like these people that are already out of college that didn't play in the NBA, but they're like in the NBA G League. These kids are coming back playing college because they can get more money. It's like somewhere along the line, it needs to there needs to be something. And I mean, like coaching, I can't even imagine being a coach in college sports right now. It's got to be so hard because recruiting is all about money, and I mean, it's really impossible to build a team. And I think I've been seeing on like college game day and stuff. Everybody tells Saban, why don't you come back? Why don't you come back? I mean, this is a total different ball game for Nick Saban. Like he's a great coach, but like this is all new to him. He's got to pretty much relearn everything as if he was starting coaching the first time, and it, I don't blame him for not coming back. It's got to be a headache. I mean, it's a headache for the fans, so I can't imagine internally how much of a headache this actually is.
Yeah, it goes against everything that Nick Saban believes and thinks, and he pulled the plug at the right time. Don't don't tarnish your career. I know he ended up on that loss to Michigan, so I probably doesn't feel that great for him. But he pulled the plug at the right time. The one person I'm surprised is like succeeding is Tom Izzo and that's college basketball. But I mean, it's crazy to see that he's still firing at the clip he's firing at, because these old head coaches, man, they see what's coming, man, and it's not good. And some of the coaches kind of turn into scumbags too, like Lane Kiffin. I think he's a scumbag. I mean, he's playing the game. I don't blame him, but like, this guy's a liar. He's someone who doesn't tell the truth. He's someone who's trying to, tamper in the portal with.
Yeah, and it's tough. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
you're essentially just bailing on your team. Like, you got
yeah,
these guys here as a family. You guys got here, and I mean, I get it. I mean, I I feel like if we were in some of these coaches and some of these players' shoes, you know, if you're giving me money and I'm a good athlete, I'm gonna do it. It
yeah.
sucks. I mean, money
Playing the
does
game,
talk.
man. Yeah,
So, but it's like, you finally get this team to the college football playoffs. They haven't been there in forever. You guys are a close, tight family from what I heard. Ole Miss is, I mean, they all play for each other, and then you just bail. But it's bad on that aspect. But like now they're a new coach. I mean, that team's they love this guy, and I mean, for what the 3 games that he had to play already in his first 3 games of his career, I mean,
yeah.
it helps. I mean, like I said, yeah, it sucks that he left. It gives another guy an opportunity. Um, but yeah, I just in general, coaching's got to be tough. I mean, I know Tom Izzo. I think he's said that he's only got a couple years left of coaching, and I think he's going to be like Nick Saban. He's going to jump off the ship at the right time, and I don't blame him. Like I said,
Yeah.
it's got to be a headache, and I mean, you're essentially a college coach pretty much running an NFL organization, and it's not even really what you want to do. I mean, they're just
I agree. I agree. And just to add to the Lane Kiffin thing, I don't agree with him philosophically or morally, but I understand what he's doing. Just to see your point, I understand what he's doing, and he's just playing the game. And you know what? If you want to succeed, you kind of have to play the game, and he's just playing the game. And I guess I can't blame him for doing that, And I know I just call him a scumbag, but at the same time, he is playing the game, so I respect that about him. Yeah, and Tom Izzo, we'll see what happens with him in the future. In the next couple of years, it's going to be a really sad moment when he does step off the wagon. But yeah, it's a crazy world we live in.
yeah, sports all around are just, I mean, crazy. It's just even like in like professional sports. I mean, how much leverage some of these guys have with wanting to get traded. And I know everybody wants to win a championship and everybody wants as much money as they can get, but like there's not an infinity amount of money. Like eventually you have to cap it somewhere of what you're going to get. Not everybody can win a championship ring. I mean, even look at, I mean, like Carmelo and all, I mean, there's still great athletes in the world that have not won a championship ring. And I know that kind of like cements your name into being a great, but I mean, I don't think a championship defines your whole career.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of players that kind of just ride on teams that they don't contribute to, and they win rings. There's one guy who I think he was on the Raptors or something, and he won a ring with the Raptors. He won a ring with Golden State, and like 2 rings with Golden State, and then he went to the Raptors. He won a ring there. So it was like 2017, 2018, 2019 or something. And I mean, he was flexing him. I'm like, dude, you played like a minute a game. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
um,
and that's where I can see like it being tough on like these players that play their whole career and don't win a championship. It's like, I mean, it just happens to be the role they fall into. And again, really, it's just about the system and just finding the right fit. I mean, we can even go with the Pistons. Like they won 14 games a couple years ago. You bring in JB, who I still don't know why Cleveland got rid of him. And I mean, in what, a year and a half, he's turned this program into a potential NBA championship team. So,
Yeah.
and again, I mean, nothing on Monty Williams, but it's like, I don't know, man. You had good players in Phoenix. I wouldn't say you had good players in Detroit, so I get it, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just the love of the game is really what it comes down to.
Yeah, I remember Monty Williams, man. He had a pretty good stint with Phoenix. I think he took him to the finals, and then he moved to Detroit here, took the job. Moved his whole family. I remember there was like an article about how he moved his son to Birmingham, Brother Rice too, and but yeah, I mean, I'm
Yeah,
really
we pretty
really
much begged him to come here.
yeah. It's really cool to see JB have the success he's having right now. And it's not really a fluke because Detroit, the Pistons did have some success in the latter half of the season last year. So you're seeing that development, and that this isn't just like a one-off. This is like he's building something. This is legit, and it's just good to see that. It's refreshing for the city of Detroit. Dare I say it, the Pistons are the best team in Detroit right now. I mean, I think they're more successful than the Lions. I mean, the Lions are kind of fell off a little bit this year, sadly.
Yeah.
But the Pistons are the kings of Detroit right now. So,
Yeah, no, all the teams are looking good. I mean, even like with us talking about JB, it's like he's a good coach too because he was potentially I don't remember if he won coach. No, he did win coach of the year last year with Cleveland. And then like I said, they got rid of him. So it's not like he's a no-name coach and it just happened to be he got lucky. I mean, he knows the game, he knows the system. He's there for his players. I mean, even after his post-game interviews, if the refs give him a bad game, he's going to tell them. I mean, if his players have a bad game, he's going to tell his players. I mean, and that's what I like to see is a family. The only thing is like the downside is where I see it with the Lions is I think they're too much of a family that they don't want to cut anybody. They don't want to trade anybody. They don't want to change anything around. Which I get it. I mean, you want to win it with the team that you have and the players that you have in the locker room, but it's a business, unfortunately, at the end of the day too. Like if you got to cut people or you got to trade people in order to get to the next step, it's got to happen. I mean, I do like I said, the family aspect of it and teamwork and everything like that. It's just unfortunately there's that fine line of, hey, like this isn't working with this team. We got to change it around, whether it's coaching, players. So we'll see. I mean, I'm a little
yeah,
nervous now with not having an offensive coordinator again. Um, so we'll see. And I've said it on a podcast before, like everything that could have went wrong with the Lions last year did. Ben Johnson getting in the playoffs and leaving, us not making the playoffs. It's just
yeah.
makes me a little nervous.
I was talking with one of my friends. This was before this season, and it was after the Washington loss in the playoffs last year. And his name's Noah. He's a huge Lions fan in terms of like just diehard. Like most of us. I'm not as diehard about the NFL. But I told him I'm like Noah, man. Like there's a chance that this team regresses next year. Like there's a chance that this team takes a step back. I mean, I think everyone thinks it's automatic that they're just going to make it back to the NFC title game and to the Super Bowl, and like it's just going to keep going up and up and up. I'm like, I don't know, man. I mean, the window in the NFL is slim sometimes, and sure enough, they didn't even make the playoffs this year. And it's a cruel world, man. It's a cruel world of sports, and things happen like that. I still believe in Dan Campbell. I still believe in Jared Goff. Believe they can get back to where they need to be, but they're going to need to make a few changes this offseason. I think that they need to find an O coordinator. I think the guy from Miami, the head coach that just got fired, I think is McDonald, right?
Yeah, I'm hoping. I'm like, dude, just give
Yeah,
him a blank check. Just bring him
yeah.
in.
Yeah, just bring them in. Get someone high profile. Don't screw around with some no names. This is a franchise that needs to be you know dealt with a little bit more seriously. It's you're still in the window right now of playing good football. So you gotta take it seriously, and get someone in there that's going to really help this team to actually get over that hump into the Super Bowl. Because they're there. They're just you can't take another season of not making the playoffs next season. You just can't.
No, and I even a couple years ago, like I told a lot of people, I'm like, when we first got into the NFC Championship, I'm like, all right, I think we're there, but I don't think our window's big. Like I think we got 2 3 years, and that's about it. And that's kind of where we're at. And I mean, it kind of shows like teams like Kansas City and like New England, like that can go back to back to back and just have all the success that they have. It's like, yeah, that's tough to do. And I'm not a huge Kansas City fan, but you got to give them credit. I mean, those teams win every year, they get to the playoffs every year, and they prove it every year. And even with the Steelers, like I know it's tough that you make the playoffs every year, you have a winning record every year. Um, but even like with them, like at some point they had to make that change of like, look, we're not going anywhere. We're just plateauing for the last 10, 15 years. Like there's got to be something has to change in order to get over that hump and win that championship. So teams can do it, teams can't do it. But yeah, I think Dan Campbell will be fine. I'm just worried that if we miss the playoffs next year, that he might be on the hot seat, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's just the reality of NFL. You gotta perform year in and year out, and um, next year is gonna be a make it or break it. You can't afford another season like this regressing. The worst thing that you can do besides plateauing is regress. So
Yep.
like if you're getting worse and worse and worse, a downward trend in anything is not good. Um, and they got to figure it out, man. I think the offense is very stagnant at times this year. The defense had some major holes. They got to figure that out. I think they just got to give that guy from Miami a blank check and go forward with that and put all the chips at the center of the table and take this swing right now. They need to be a little bit more aggressive too on the market, I think too, and on in trading, get another heavy swinger, and go from there.
Yeah, it's gonna be. We'll see what happens with these Detroit teams, but I'm hoping everybody's on the up and up. Um, I know, just quickly kind of want to throw it in there with the whole Detroit Lions and Tarek Skubal thing. And who knows what's going on with that? Again, these teams make so much money. Just get the kid a blank check. Just do it.
Yeah, losing Tarek Skubal, man, that would hurt. That would hurt pretty badly. I don't know why the Tigers do this every year, where they just kind of fiddle with their thumbs. And I mean, this you need to do something right now. And last season wasn't utterly bad. They got to the playoffs. Obviously they lost to Seattle, but you got to keep that going, and you got to make it a little bit further next year. So you got to keep Tarek Skubal, and I think they need to get another really good bat, and they'll be good.
Yeah, yeah. Detroit sports are, like I said, I'm pretty sure they're back, and you know, we got that college football game tomorrow, and we'll see
Yeah.
who's champion at the end. I mean, I guess real quick before I let you go, what's your prediction on score and who's going to win this national championship?
So this is my final prediction. I can't deny Indiana. They're just a freight train right now. It's a team of destiny. It hurts as a Michigan State fan to see a team like Indiana rise to success and get a natty before we do. But I think it's going to be a lot closer than what people think. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think Miami's defense is too sound. I'm gonna go 28-24 Indiana.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I have Indiana. I'm thinking it's going to be a two touchdown win for them.
Hmm.
So we'll see. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Miami pulls it out, but it's going to be we're going to have to be staying up late Monday night because it's coming down to the last second. These teams are going to have to play till the clock says zero. It's
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think both of these teams are ready. And it makes college football better because, like I said, when they had the 4 teams, it was always it's pretty much all these colleges fighting for one spot because you're always going to have Alabama, Georgia. Those teams are always going to make it in there. So it's good for college football in that aspect. And like I said, it's going to be a late night tomorrow, but should be a good win. In that aspect, should be a good win. Like
Awesome.
I said, it's going to be a late night.
Well, thanks for having me on, Cody. I really appreciate it, man. It's always a privilege and a pleasure being on your podcast. I hope to continue to be on your podcast in the future.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'll definitely have you on more. Maybe even after college football's over, we can talk, NFL offseason and everything like that. I know you're more of a college football guy, but we can talk offseason stuff for that too. But yeah, this won't be the last episode you'll be on.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I appreciate it. Everybody, this is Cade. Go follow him on all of his social media platforms. He's definitely going places. The content that he puts out is really good.
Appreciate it.
I've told him this, and I look up to him in the content space of what he's making. He takes time.
Cody.
Yeah, you're doing good. So keep it up. I love even the new videos that you're making. You're always coming up with great ideas. So that definitely is something for me to look at. And yeah, just keep continuing what you're doing, and you'll get over that hump, and you'll make it to where you want to be.
Okay, thanks, Cody. You as well, man. Keep it up, man, and I've enjoyed all your content as well.
I appreciate it. All right, man. Well, we'll definitely talk again soon. Appreciate you having on.
I see you. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Catching up with Cody. We're riding high and flying free. Sports and life as you can see. Just you and me on this journey.